Hello and welcome. Today I want to address a question. Gerard Heaney writes, by the way, he wrote this in, I believe it was my top 10 favorite books video. In the comments down below, this is what he asked for. Would you consider creating a video on your approach to practice and tips on how best to practice and keeping on track if one is, say, working through Tarbell or Mark Wilson's course or Card College? My best from Belfast, Ireland. Thank you so much, Gerard, for the question. Hopefully I can do some justice to it. And by the way, guys, I know there's a lot of people watching this that are extremely proficient in sleight of hand. So in the comments down below, please tell us what your practice habits are. I'm going to share mine with you. Right now, I am a specialist in the area of mentalism. Mentalism relies more on subtlety and presentation than it does on sleight of hand. And for many reasons, I prefer mentalism for that reason and many other reasons. But I have always wanted to concentrate on presentation, on what's happening between me and a spectator. I want my 100% attention to be there, which means that if I'm using a sleight, the sleight has to be so well practiced that it's second nature. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to look at my hands. I don't have to think about what I'm doing. It just automatically happens. So you really need to get to that place if you're using sleights at all. Personally, I don't particularly, I look for ways to avoid sleight of hand. I really do. Because again, my focus is on mentalism. Now, let me address specifically Tarbell, Mark Wilson's course, Card College. Tarbell is a little more challenging. Card College is a little more challenging. Mark Wilson's course, I mean, if you're learning the magic in there, they give you each little frame, each little technique, each piece of it. It is extremely to learn under those circumstances. Doug Henning said something that I think is relevant to this discussion. Let me share that with you. Doug Henning said, and by the way, I'll put this in the material underneath this video so you can see this. Doug Henning said, the hard must become habit. The habit must become easy, and the easy must become beautiful. To me, that is what you're striving for. As you begin to master any particular magical technique, it's hard. It's hard at the beginning. You're unfamiliar with it. Your hands are not familiar with it. Your mind is not familiar with it. It's difficult. You have to work with that consistently. Give it enough time so that the difficult becomes a habit. Again, you don't want to have to think about it. If you have to think about it, you're not ready to perform it. So the difficult has to become a habit. The habit has to become easy. It's something that's natural to you. It's easy. It's as easy as breathing. It's as easy as walking. That's the way your sleights need to be. Once they're easy, then they need to become beautiful. That's the next step. The next step. And by the way, if you're performing for other magicians, it's really cool to show off something that's very complex, very intricate, and very involved in terms of sleight of hand, because magicians have an appreciation for that. Laymen don't. They don't. They just, laymen, it's all about the effect for a layman. Now, you can do, for example, a brainwave style effect. You can do that through sleight of hand, or you can use the commercial brainwave method. Doesn't matter. The effect is the same. The effect is exactly the same. So you might as well choose a method that's natural, that's easy, that's comfortable, so that you can concentrate on presentation if you're performing for lay audiences. If you're performing for other magicians, they love the intricate stuff. So the more you master that, the better off you're going to be. I've seen magicians that do intricate sleight of hand, complex stuff. They do it so well, you don't even know they're doing sleight of hand. They perform for magicians, and when in lecture situations, when they start talking about their methods, people are blown away. Tommy Wonder is a good example. Tommy Wonder does this kind of stuff all the time. He creates these very elaborate, very complex methodologies in the effects he's creating, but they're so beautiful to watch because they're so clean and so proficient. He's a master. That's what you need to strive for. I want to also mention the difference between rehearsal and practice. Practice is what you do when you're learning something. Rehearsal is what you do when you're getting ready for a show. When you rehearse, you need to start at the beginning of your show, run through to the end of your show as if you're performing it. No breaks. If you make a mistake, you got to keep going. You got to figure out how you're going to cover that mistake. That's a rehearsal. Practice is far different. Practice, you're looking at each individual step. You're taking each step apart. You're analyzing each step. You're learning each step. Then you're putting it together. You're not doing it for an audience. Now let me give you a few pointers, I think, on how you might practice better. If you need to do complex sleights, first of all, learn it piece by piece. When I learn a new violin piece, and I play the violin, I don't play it that well, but I play it. I love it. That's my instrument. When I learn a new violin piece, I often learn a single bar or maybe a single line at a time. I might go over that same line, I don't know, 3-4 practice sessions in a row, maybe 6 or 7, depending on how complex the line is. I keep going over that line. It's not a song, it's just a line. As that line becomes proficient, I begin to add to it. Another line, maybe another bar. I just keep moving it along until finally I can play the whole piece through. It might take weeks, it might take months, depending on how complex the particular song is. Magicians are no different than musicians. We need to learn our music. We need to learn it line by line, bar by bar. Then and only then can we tie it together into a lovely piece. So you take it, first of all, in segments. Second, take it slow. Don't try to do it real time. Take it as slow as you need to take it so that you're learning the technique exactly as it should be learned. No shortcuts. Take your time, do it slow, and keep doing it slow until you naturally pick up speed with the sleight. Don't rush it. Don't take shortcuts. Third, practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. I'm sure you've heard that before. It's a bit of a cliche now. What they mean by that is you can learn, and I've seen this happen, you can learn poor habits. When you're learning a sleight, first of all, learn the sleight from a master. You know, make sure you're getting the very best technique. If you can, get a mentor, get somebody to show it to you. But make sure that as you learn it, you're learning the very best technique, because it's going to be imprinted in you once you learn this. Once you practice it, once you get it proficient, it's imprinted. It's in there. You know, it's very hard to get out at that point. Record yourself. Record your practice sessions. There's nothing like watching yourself on video. You look at yourself, what you're doing. Put the camera on your hands if you need to. Burn it in there and look at the different angles. Then you'll be able to see what the audience sees. You'll be able to make adjustments that way. Once you learn the basic technique, once you've become proficient in the basic technique, here's something that Di Vernon would tell you if he were here teaching you. He would say, look at the way your hands naturally lay. Look at the way the hand naturally falls. And make sure that the sleight that you're learning is compatible with the natural lay of your hand. That means you're going to have to make adjustments. What you saw in the instructional video, what you read in the instructional book, was developed by someone with much different hands than yours. So you're going to need, once you learn the basic technique, you're going to need to ask the question, is this compatible with the way I handle my body, with my natural lay, with my natural habits? You're going to need to make small adjustments to adapt it to your personal body habits. Beyond that, as far as learning everything in Tarbell or everything in Mark Wilson or everything in Card College, my suggestion would be don't learn everything. Pick and choose. Take the material that appeals to you the most and focus there. You need to be passionate about the effects that you're learning. So learn things that you believe in, learn things that you want to perform, learn things that you want to be proficient in, and put the time in. When I say put the time in, I'm not talking about an evening. I'm talking about weeks, maybe months of everyday practice. That's what it's going to take. So you better love the effect in the end. Because if you're getting 10 days, 12 days, 14 days into practice, and you're thinking, this effect really isn't worth the return on investment, well, then you've wasted some time. So make sure you're choosing effects that you really believe in, and then put in the time. And it will be worth it. I mean, back in the early days, back in the golden age, a lot of magic was sleight of hand. A lot of it was. I mean, we've kind of drifted away from that in our time. But the better you are, the more proficient you are with your hand, even the better mentalist you'll be. I mean, there are occasions when you're going to need to do a switch, and being able to do that switch cleanly, it comes from sleight of hand practice. It really does. A lot of the techniques of mentalism do require some degree of sleight of hand proficiency. So, Gerard, I hope I answered your question. Gentlemen, ladies, if you have your own practice techniques, please put them down below. We want to hear them. Comment, please subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.